So before I get into what I want to talk about, which is the CSTO, Armenia and Russian relations right now, I want to tell everyone that I'm launching a website. It's going to be called crossroadsofpower.com. I'll put it up on the board behind me here. And um, basically the reason is I get a lot of comments saying people don't have time to watch my long form videos. And also a lot of people miss my videos because that's just the nature of TikTok. So if you guys don't know my process, I take what I know, what's currently going on, and I actually write notes on a screen that's in front of me. Those notes are easily convertible into articles or essays or blog posts or whatever you want to call them. And I can take those notes and convert them into a blog post and post them on this website. So if you don't like looking at my mug on TikTok, you can go to this website and check it out and see what I talk about, but it's just in written form. So you can read it quietly on the bus or whatever you're doing. So just letting you know, I'll let you know when it launches. I'm actually building the website right now, but the domain I've already secured. It's crossroadsofpower.com, and I'm going to put it on the board like I said. So moving on. So with regard to what's going on in the CSTO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization, this is Russia's version of NATO, and it is starting to fall apart, frankly, around Russia. The war in Ukraine has made it so Russia can't respond as readily to other security concerns of other nations. And if you know that NATO has an Article 5 where an attack on one is an attack on all, they have the similar situation in the Combined Security Treaty Organization, the CSTO. So the recent developments in the Armenia's geopolitical landscape have highlighted the need for a more comprehensive strategic foreign policy within Armenia, one that weighs the risks and benefits of who they're actually aligning with. Amid this ongoing debate, Armenia's current security alliances, the effectiveness of the Collective Security Treaty Organization and its participation in NATO drills as well is essential to consider the various factors that contribute to Armenia's security and stability in the long term. So basically what's happening is even though Armenia is a signer and have been since 1994 of the CSTO, they're conducting drills with NATO. And in fact, when I was in Germany working for the Joint Multinational Readiness Center, I remember Armenia coming and training with us, and it was a bit odd to me because they are a part of the CSTO, but nonetheless we are always open to adding more alliances. Now the CSTO is comprised of 6 post-Soviet states, and Armenia and Russia are 2 of them. They aim to ensure a mutual defense and security for its members. However, Armenia has recently criticized Russia's CSTO leadership and its effectiveness because of actions between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Now, Armenia has been a member of the CSTO since 1994, and Armenia expected the CSTO to support it during the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh conflict and all the more recent skirmishes between Armenia and Azerbaijan. However, the organization failed to provide any tangible assistance. Basically, Armenia had to fight its own battle, and it's starting to wonder, why is it a part of this organization, this treaty for security? The war between the 2 nations caused a loss of territory by Armenia to Azerbaijan. And according to a recent survey, 62% of Armenians perceive the CSTO's response as inadequate, prompting Armenian authorities and officials to express their dissatisfaction more openly, including Armenia refusing to sign a CSTO declaration of mutual defense. Interestingly, a video came up last November that talked about how in front of Putin and Lukashenko, the Armenian officials flat out said, "We're not signing this." The shift in sentiment has far-reaching consequences for Armenia's relationship with Russia and other CSTO member states. The video was quite interesting, and I posted it before. It showed Lukashenko looking at Armenia going, "What are you doing?" and Putin throwing his pen down in disgust. Now, in light of these concerns, some Armenian officials argue that remaining closely aligned with Russia poses a greater risk for Armenia compared to forming an alliance with the United States and NATO. While the benefits of the current relationship with Russia include access to discounted military equipment and a little over 100% increase in bilateral trade in 2021 compared to 2020, there's a need to assess the long-term implications of this alliance, as well as if Russia's equipment is even effective, as we've seen a lot of it breaking down and having problems in Ukraine. Now, the dependence on Russia for military and economic support might hinder America's ability to diversify its foreign relations, or Armenia's ability to diversify its foreign relations and explore alternative partnerships, because most of Russia's equipment that they've bought is not compatible with NATO equipment. On the other hand, an alliance with the U.S. could potentially offer Armenia increased access to advanced military technology that is far more advanced than what Russia fields, and broader support from the international community, specifically in the European Union. This would not only improve Armenia's defense capabilities, but it also could strengthen its economic and geopolitical standing, as Europe and America are a stronger economic partner than Russia. However, shifting alliances could strain the relationship that they have with Russia and other CSTO member states, which might have some adverse effects on Armenia's security in the region. Now, as Ukraine signaled it was leaning more towards Europe, that is when Russia decided to take action against Ukraine. Interestingly, Finland has easily signaled that it's going to Europe by joining NATO, but Russia's not taking any action. But that's because Finland is a far stronger military than what Ukraine's was, at least perceived to be back last year. Now, Armenia's recent participation in NATO drills indicates that its efforts to diversify its security arrangements and establish relationships with other global players, but Russia was very upset about this. They actually have ceased sending weapons to Armenia because of its participation in NATO drills, despite being a member of the CSTO. Now, this move could provide Armenia with new opportunities for military cooperation. However, Armenian authorities want to maintain a clear communication with Russia throughout the remainder, if they do stay in the CSTO. But Moscow has actually officially requested an explanation for why Armenia is participating in NATO drills, but Armenia has not responded yet. What's interesting about this is, in the debate over whether to align with Russia or the U.S., Armenia needs to develop a well-defined strategic foreign policy that considers its national interests and geopolitical dynamics of the region. As Russia weakens and becomes more desperate, therefore making more rash decisions, does Armenia want to be drawn in as a part of the Collective Security Treaty Organization to these different skirmishes or even all-out wars that Russia is desperately trying to wage to bolster its position both militarily and economically? Now, Armenia has to pursue a balanced foreign policy and take into account the South Caucasus region, as well as interests of major powers, which include Russia still at this point, but also the United States, the European Union, and ever-growing influence from China as well. What Armenia stands to gain is if they take this multi-vector approach with Russia, US, Europe, they might be able to have their cake and eat it too somewhat. A similar situation to where Turkey stands. However, Turkey has also taken the stance that too much support of Russia has hindered it, or too much reliance on Russian equipment, such as the purchase of S-400 anti-aircraft missiles, have hindered Turkey. Ultimately, Armenia really needs to focus on its domestic capabilities, but also strengthen its economy, infrastructure, and social cohesion, something that the United States and European Union are actually better positioned to do for Armenia than Russia. Really, all that Russia can offer Armenia is military equipment. It can't provide economic benefit in bilateral ties. It can't provide any kind of stronger guarantees of its security, because as we've seen with Azerbaijan, Armenia just is not receiving any kind of support whatsoever. So in conclusion, they kind of stand at a geopolitical crossroads here, and they face the challenge of balancing the two major powers here, but starting to realize that Russia has become somewhat of a two-faced paper tiger partner, so to speak, not supporting them, even supporting Azerbaijan in some cases. But in reality, Armenia might be leaning more towards the United States, NATO, and the European Union, because, yet again, Russia has blundered its way through Ukraine and has a far weakened geopolitical standpoint going forward. So we might just see a geopolitical shift with Armenia potentially leaving the Combined Security Treaty Organization and moving towards NATO. And Armenia themselves have said they wouldn't be leaving the CSTO. The CSTO left them.